4:43, I'll call the Works Committee to order. By way of a chair's report, I don't have much except to advise folks to anticipate. I know we're sort of in the area of the year where it's very difficult to get meetings off the ground, so I think we're going to do 2 in January that are special meetings of this committee. One is going to basically give staff an opportunity to advise on their progress related to recent activity of the audit committee and Collier, and then I know Courtney, you wanted to do one on the new neighborhood traffic calming. Yep. So we'll look to do 2 of those in January, spaced out, hopefully to keep attendance reasonable, and so we'll be working with the department and our council and clerk's office to get all that stuff scheduled up. So keep that in mind, and we'll go on to staff report, and I will look to Ms. Stone to kick us off here.
All right. So you might have seen I sent out a press release earlier today about Christmas tree recycling. So if you want to put that in your monthly newsletters or your year-end newsletters or whatever, December 27th to February 16th, we're going to have several locations open and available for Christmas tree drop-off. I have the list in the press release, and I'll be putting that in the Friday email as well. In terms of the weekly report, Councilman O'Connell did mention the traffic calming program updates, and I sent an email out last week about that and some of the changes that we're making to that program in order to be a little bit more strategic with the work that we're doing and the way that we're allocating resources. So be sure to, if you haven't looked at that email, go back and take a look at it, but I plan on resending that information out to all of you this week as well. I just want to make sure that everyone's aware that we're switching to application periods, so we're going to have 2 application periods a year. One of them will open up on January 2nd. Because this is the first time we're doing this, we're going to make it 3 weeks long instead of 2 weeks long, so it will run through January 22nd. And we're going to be contacting all of the neighborhoods that are currently on that spreadsheet that I send out, that are currently in the process and have submitted applications. Their applications are going to be grandfathered in under this new program, so they won't need to resubmit a new application. We're going to consider their applications, and we're going to be corresponding with them so they'll know that. Yes. To
that point, I need to double check one, but I know I had some residents in Historic Buena Vista submit something, and they got kind of a, it was like that interim period response.
Yeah.
Should I just double check that they're on there? But generally, if you've applied for it, you will be sort of considered to have applied for this.
If you're on that spreadsheet, and if you're not, we'll reach out to them and make sure they know to reapply during the application period.
Excellent, thank you.
To reapply. So then if you don't get it the first go round, do you reapply every time?
Yeah,
or
you can resubmit as long as you feel like you have an issue that needs to be taken
And if you
care of.
don't resubmit, you're not automatically on it the next go round.
Correct.
Okay, that's good to know.
And Courtney, can I ask as well, I mean, when you all in the past have defined what, the project area is, so you might have neighbors that have gotten together about speeding on their particular street, right? But as we all recognize, it's kind of an ecosystem.
Right.
So if you've got speeding here, that's related to here and there. And so how are you all, as far as what's currently on the list, or if one street comes to you and then says, we've got speeding, it's really a problem on this street, we want to be in the traffic calming program, are you all going to kind of proactively say, okay, the boundaries of the study area should be, and how are you going to kind of determine that?
I think if, for example, you have 2 streets that are very close together that are both applying for traffic calming, I think you would try to look at those 2 streets, like you're saying, as more of a whole ecosystem and figure out if there are changes. Maybe they're not even made on that, one of those actual streets. Maybe they're made closer out to a collector road or something like that. But we would contact both of them and say, hey, you all have both applied. If you can, consolidate your 2 applications into one, you probably will get a more robust traffic calming treatment and plan if you meet the criteria and your projects get selected.
I think understood. I had something in my district where kind of like the top line boundary of, the study area, it really needed to include those streets north of a certain collector street. And so, certain frustration of the community to come to that meeting and see, oh, wait, you didn't do counts on my street. And so, I don't necessarily want those folks to have to kind of go to the back of the line when we recognize that that is all, again, within these boundaries related. So I guess I would just ask in this transition, if not just kind of street to street, but, sometimes there's things that are that obvious, like, oh, this street and that street, but, it's rarely that simple, right? It's usually, and this street, and this street, and then that street, and then a cut through over here, and then, and then it starts to get a little unwieldy.
Yeah.
But I think we can serve more people and maybe have less frustration if, whether through kind of prompting or education, we say, hey, it's great you're talking to your neighbors and you're concerned about your particular street, but I don't know if that's just through education or the department will just do it proactively, but I just think there's when you just do these things in isolation, I think that contributes to the general frustration.
That just makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that we've gotten a lot of questions about the changes to the program, and I think that they're all valid questions, but part of this is so that we can be more strategic. We work with council members a lot on sidewalk projects. We work with council members a lot on our bikeways projects. And traffic calming probably needs to transition to a little bit more of a project-oriented, more strategically planned out program. And that is what this is aiming to do. Rather than just spot treating little problems as they come up, we're trying to shift to something that is more community involved, that is more council member involved, so that we can treat problems more holistically rather than saying, okay, well, you need some striping here and we'll put a sign here. And we can spend more money on individual projects.
And just to reiterate, we will be having a meeting whose special focus is this, so not only can our colleagues learn more about the new program, that we can also make sure that constituents are aware. So thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
And then just the high-level numbers from the report. This past week, we picked up 15.43 tons of litter over 123 miles, and for the year, we have picked up 483.5 tons over 2,551 miles. This past week, we filled 743 potholes, and for the year, we have reached 41,411 potholes.
Did I hear that right? 483.5 tons of litter collected this year?
Yes.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Well, thank you for that report, Courtney. And John, real quickly, did you have anything you wanted to bring to our attention from the Metro Water standpoint? Is there anything up worth that? I know we've got a couple bills that we'll also talk about. And then, Councilor, I know you have a question, I think.
I did. Mr. Sturdivant, we had spoken regarding the new kind of sidewalk process as far as how we're dealing with that contractually, and that had somewhat been put on pause kind of post-audit committee and some conversations y'all are having there. I had mentioned to the mayor's office and spoken to you and Chair O'Connell also about, whatever you all decide as far as how you're going to deal with that process contractually. I think everyone sees the merit in the back end of that process, right? Having multiple contractors that actually pour the concrete to build the sidewalks. And so whatever happens kind of internal to the process as you all work out the kind of the front end piece of it, there are quite a lot of sidewalk projects that are already totally done and have construction drawings. And I just want to know kind of where we are on the back end of that process and moving forward with that piece.
Well, what we did was we negotiated and we're in the process of signing emergency contracts with the two contractors we had in place, which is Civic Engineering on the design side and Roy T. Goodwin on the construction side.
Okay. So
there shouldn't be a drop-off.
okay, I appreciate that, but I do just want to maybe make the point that I think a lot of the frustration that you were hearing from the community and perhaps council members, respectfully, was that last piece, Roy T. Godwin, which I get it, they know their stuff, and we need to do something to keep moving forward. So I appreciate that. But again, on that comprehensive relook at how you all do the process, so that we can deliver sidewalks less expensively and faster. I recognize it is all part of a system, but I would still assert that back end piece, as you all intended,
Right.
to have not just Roy T. Godwin, but
Right.
3 or 4 or 5 people who pour the concrete, that we would please still, as mayor's office or what, like, to go ahead and move forward with that piece of it, even though we're looking at all the other pieces, because that's something that you all intended to do and has merit. It's not, there's not a particular firm that's implicated in that piece.
That's stopped too.
Okay. Okay.
And the reason that it has to be is that we're shifting to design build. And so that involves design firms, and so that had to stop as well. That's why we did, excuse me, that's why we did the emergency contract.
Okay.
And why are we shifting to design build?
That's a decision we made, working with the mayor's office and others. We met you, council members, on a couple different days, but we think that's a quicker way, and we're gonna have more than one contractor in place, which is what you're talking about.
And Council, I think we'll get a more in-depth review in one of the 2 meetings I'm
Great.
setting up in January. So, thank you. Anybody else have questions for staff before we move on with the agenda? All right, perfect. I did want to, I'm going to use the recognition of guests section of the agenda for a quick one. I know we had some questions. Last meeting, we didn't re-refer it to this committee, but I did get some questions from colleagues about BL 2018-1409, which is the 5th and Broadway project. Joe, I know you're here to kind of be able to provide an update. And there were some questions just generally about the streetscape before we went ahead and passed on 3rd reading on aerial and underground encroachments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. I'm actually going to turn this over to Stephen Brown. Stephen is partner at Gresham Smith, the engineering consultant on the project. Stephen had the lead on preparing the package that came before the committee, is up on 3rd reading, and he can walk you through some of the high-level parts of that. If there are specific questions, Stephen's got all the technical answers.
Thank you both for
Thank you.
being here.
So, absolutely. Just be happy to answer any questions you might have.
And I know Councilor Allen and Councilor Henderson, I think each have.
Okay.
Yeah, they may be similar. I had just looked through the package that was there and saw elevations and site plans, but I couldn't, because what I was trying to be sure I was comfortable with was how it related to the Ryman right across the street. And I know that there's some balconies and some blade signs that are sticking out over, I guess, the sidewalk. And just in terms of leaving some area to kind of stand back and see the Ryman, are we doing that? And can you show us how those two relate to each other?
I can show you. I've got several copies
Great.
here.
Stephen can address the technical features, but there was a very intentional design approach to create picture balconies, viewing balconies throughout the facade, and points of entry where visitors can really take in the view of the Ryman and get different photograph perches.
Gotcha.
I don't have any of those renderings with me. I wasn't sure that was going to be a question, but as Joe said, yes, there are several balconies along here, and also rooftop areas on top of retail here, where you can view the retail. The building is set back a little bit off of the sidewalk to allow that little bit set back viewing. We've got a view corridor through this internal street.
Is that the Ryman right there?
This is the Ryman.
Those are the steps, okay.
Yes.
So the Ryman then is kind of your central kind of street through the middle is aligned with the corner of the Ryman, right?
Is
And to-
aligned about with this third of the Ryman.
So to respond to community concerns that you all did not kind of have any sort of public space that, addressed a more, I think what most people would feel was a more appropriate view shed for that building. You all did recess the building, like, what is that? How many feet is that? Do you put the building back?
That's probably about a 15-foot recess.
Okay, so you have a 15-foot recess there. So what is before us now as far as aerial and underground encroachments? Is that here along Fifth Avenue, or?
Yes, I've actually got two different plans here. What you see in color on these plans are the actual encroachments. So green, obviously, those are landscape encroachments, so that the project will own the landscape instead of the city owning the landscape and be able to maintain it, to irrigate it. The yellow is an ES electrical vault that's up here on the corner.
Is that below grade or is it above
that-
grade?
yeah.
It is a below-grade vault.
Thanks.
It's typical NES vaults that you might see in a downtown urban environment. Where you see red, those are some subgrade structural encroachments, some building structure elements that encroach in under the right-of-way. And then blue is where we have some enhanced sidewalk paving. Those are outside of the norm that Public Works would take care of, mostly for pedestrian safety. This second sheet, 2.2, are the aerial encroachments, where you see the red stars. Those are our sign encroachments. The blue are balconies and canopies, and those are all elevated a good bit above the walkway, so we're not impeding on the public walkway. That was very important to us to keep that.
At one point, there was sidewalk was going to be at grade with the street, and the street was going to be kind of faux cobbled. Did that end up?
We talked about that a lot back and forth with Public Works. Those were some design ideas that were thrown about at the, we kind of settled in on more of a traditional street section in through here. What the big concern, I think, was safety in doing that coplanar street. Like was done more down at the convention center. We weren't sure it was really appropriate at this setting because of the grade on Fifth here and the ability for vehicles to come to a stop.
It has to drain. That's kind of what the curb is for.
Okay. So in a bird environment, where do the birds, would they be on the?
Painted area on your sidewalk specifically.
Like the bird environment.
In the bird environment, are
Where's
they?
that encroachment? Where is that?
Or is there, are you channeling them in any way on the street, or, I mean,
Oh,
because
boy.
between the Ryman and this project,
I
you're
think
good.
most of this project
Yeah, a
was
lot.
developed before the bird craze.
Councilman, are you moving to delete BL 2018-1202 from the Metro Code of Law? It could go a long way.
We've got a lot of I'm just talking here. We've got a lot of articulation in the building, some nooks and crannies along the street side that might make good spaces for those outside of that public sidewalk realm.
I'm sorry, can you speak to where the signage for the African American
Music.
Music Museum
We've got-
will be?
we've got
I know
two-
there's been some concern about
We've got-
visibility of that.
Yes, we've got two entrances to the museum. This element here that kind of comes out towards the street a little bit more, and then there's an inset here. Both of these have signage above.
But it's
and
not an aerial encroachment, is that what
It
it's
does not encroach on the right of way, so that signage is not included in this package. That signage was in the MDHA package.
Okay, so I guess just from a visibility perspective, these are out over the right-of-way, but
This-
those for wayfinding for the museum purposes are they of equal size to the others? Or I think, you've heard some community concern that because this is now subgrade, it's not very obviously at the corner.
Yeah.
As most people in the community thought it would be. I think there is a lot of concern about how the signage is.
We don't have the dimensions with us, but the museum sign on Fifth is one of the largest signs in the entire package.
Okay.
And there is not only, in addition to a sign on Broadway, there is a door to the museum also on Broadway. So it has two front doors and two main signs.
Most of the signage that you see in this package is parking signage that'll alert the drivers, this is where you enter to park.
And I think you made an important point, right? I mean, the MDHA sign, this is just the encroachment package, and so the overall signage is
Okay.
is, you will have more visibility there.
Be happy to get you copies of that, if that's something you'd like to look at.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this, but I would just like to take this opportunity again to mention to colleagues that when we have a building project like this wherein the city is providing land at a significant discount, but we do not as a city say that we want certain municipal benefits like public space and a plaza across from the Ryman. I think it's very disappointing that we as a city did not kind of stake a claim to that as a condition of this deal. So I respect and appreciate all you've done to respond to the concerns subsequent to that, but I think it's important that we as a body, colleagues, remember that in the future, because this was municipal land and civic space for the purposes of this deal. In my view, it was sold at a significant discount, and so given that, in my view, we likewise should have in the public domain, from a public works perspective, whether parks or green space or otherwise, it's fine to talk about it now and make sure that's done as best as it can be, and I appreciate that you are doing that. But we, and I know that was kind of, that ship had sailed somewhat before we came together as a body, but we have got to stop kind of messing that sort of stuff up. So, thank you.
And again, this is old business. Any other questions on this? This is not actually before the committee, but I know I wanted to give folks an opportunity since we did not have the project team with us last time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to resolutions, and we'll go through. If you want to pull something from resolutions, just let me know, and otherwise I'll read these through and assume everything is on consent unless I hear otherwise. Resolution RS 2018-1504, authorizing BOP Nashville LLC, Theo Rand Partners LLC to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 501 Fifth Avenue South. We've got Resolution RS 2018-1508, encourages Nashville Electric Service to transition its Roundup donation program from a customer select to a customer remove policy in order to provide additional funding for NES's Home Energy Uplift program, and further requesting NES and the Tennessee Valley Authority to match funds resulting from the program.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to bump that one.
Okay.
We're going to abstain from it.
Yes, okay, perfect. Resolution RS 2018-1520 accepts a donation of 3 mobile traffic barricades from Music City, Inc. to the Metro government for the use and benefit of the Metro Nashville Police Department. Resolution RS 2018-1527 approved an application for a recycling rebate from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation to Metro Public Works to fund recycling education and the purchase of curbside recycling carts. And finally, Resolution RS 2018-1528 authorizes 409 Broadway Venture LLC, DBA Nudies Honky Tonk, to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 409 Broadway. All right, we've got one pulled off the consent, which we will come back to. I'd accept the motion to approve the consent agenda otherwise.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We approve the consent agenda. And let's go back to RS 2018-1508. And I know Antonio is here from NES. Councilman, I know you need to abstain. Does anyone have specific discussion on this or questions of NES for this? Or Councilor Haywood as lead sponsor, did you want to say anything on that?
I just think it's a phenomenal bill, and it's one that, I've gotten a couple of emails that alluded to opt-in as opposed to opt-out. And but there are a lot of ways that you could opt out, and you could, and those have been addressed in an email. But I just think the bill is phenomenal, and I think if anybody really cares about the community, most of the people that would be involved in this particular resolution is in my 37207, and I would just like your support for this bill. Basically, it's maybe $6 a year that you would spend. And if your bill is $250.50, that means 50 cents. It would just round up to the next dollar. And it would just really increase the percentage as far as what goes in to help those people that I say are indigent or what are of great need. And I just think it's a phenomenal bill,
And thank you, Councilor.
well, resolution.
As chair of the Public Works Committee, I will speak in support of your leadership on this. We know from opt-in, opt-out structures that moving to an opt-out scenario absolutely raises the participation rate without eliminating the liberties of opting out, and will ultimately fund weatherization and ultimately lower energy bills for the elderly and indigent in our community. I couldn't agree more that this is an important communication from council. So,
And
thank you
Memphis
for-
has that particular opt-out, Memphis and Knoxville. And they have great models that one could look at and just really feel good about it.
Other discussion?
Chair, if I may, I'd just like to emphasize, because there might be some misconception, because it's not us charging our
No.
constituent. Rather, we are encouraging NES to use this mechanism to help in need.
That's
So I think this is a great resolution, maybe non-binding, but, it make a great statement as a council and encouragement.
And I think it's significant also that TVA and MDHA would be also matching funds along with NES. I think that's significant.
Great, thank you all. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilman, I will mark
Abstain,
you as
please.
abstaining.
Thank you.
Brady, I'll abstain just because I wasn't here and I don't know what we were talking about.
I've got you present on here, and I will mark you. I will mark you as an abstention. Excellent. All right. So that covers resolutions. I'm going to move on to bills on second reading. We'll do the same kind of approach here. I've got. All right. We've got. Bill 2018-1406, amends Metro Code Section 102110, container requirements to remove the requirement that garbage containers must not be visible from a public street. I know there is an amendment on that one, so we'll pull that. Discuss that. And then BL 2018-1420 authorizes Metro to acquire temporary and permanent easements through negotiation, condemnation, and acceptance for the Clean Water Nashville Hurricane Creek Pipe Improvement Project for 18 properties located along Murfreesboro Road, Hurricane Creek Boulevard, J.P. Hennessy Drive, Hill Quaker Boulevard, Bridgestone Parkway, and Firestone Parkway. And again, we've got an amendment on that, so we'll pull it. BL 2018-1421 authorizes the acquisition of certain right-of-way easements and property rights by negotiation or condemnation for purposes of Public Works project roundabout at Blue Hole Road and Pettus Road. BL 2018-1422 authorizes the Metro government to negotiate and accept permanent and temporary easements for the Clydeland Court Stormwater Improvement Project for 15 properties located on Clydeland Court, Cheek Road, and Meadowwood Drive. BL 2018-1423 authorizes LVH LLC to install, construct, and maintain underground and aerial encroachments in the right-of-way located at 1234 Martin Street. And that concludes the package. So I've got 3 bills on the consent agenda. I'd accept a motion to approve those.
So moved.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we've got consent agenda covered on those, and then we'll come back and I'm happy to open the discussion. So I guess we've got a proposed amendment on BL 2018-1406, and Councilor Allen, did you want to discuss that?
Yeah, move the amendment.
Okay, we've got a motion to apply the amendment to the bill. All right.
Thank you. I understand the need to get flexibility to not say that they can't be visible from the street because that's becoming less and less possible. But I didn't want to just open it up so now everyone can just leave them on the street all week long. So the amendment simply says that they will be, to remove the requirement that they not be visible from the street, but that they can't still be on the street except between the hours of 7 p.m. the day before to 7 p.m. the day of. And the 7 p.m. is just an acknowledgement that many people take their garbage out the night before. And so to have the requirement that they have to be hidden from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. actually would be putting a big requirement on Public Works that they can't fulfill, and there's no need to anyway, because nobody minds that. So
A lot
those
of
are-
people would miss having their trash picked
And a
up.
lot of people would have the trash pickup, and then we would call y'all and ask you to come back and get
A
it.
lot
So
of people running out in their pajamas.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
So we think that's a helpful thing. We hope that's okay. So those are the two changes that are in the amendment.
All right, the amendment has been moved. I didn't hear a second yet on it.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second, and I will just say by way of discussion, I know some of the round tripping on this. I think Public Works and then, among us on the committee, but under the leadership of Councilor Allen, I think the general intent here is to make the Metro Code better reflect some necessary realities countywide. This is effectively a cleanup bill just for the purposes of trash carts. I don't expect there to be a ton of side effects of this in terms of, overall city beautification based on my understanding from Public Works. Any discussion on the bill as amended? I guess I'd accept a motion for that.
Can we vote on that?
Second.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we need to vote on the amendment.
Yeah.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
The bill is amended.
All right, we've got a motion on the bill as amended.
Second.
And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we've got that. And now next is BL 2018-1420. The substitute, as we learned in Planning, Zoning, and Historical from Mr. Jamison, here basically just adds 10 properties for this overall project. It's part of Clean Water Nashville, which I think everyone has some familiarity with at this point. And I would accept a motion on the substitute.
Move the substitute.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the substitute? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and I would accept a motion on the bill as substituted. All right, we've got a motion and a second on the bill as substituted. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And I believe that brings us to the end of the agenda. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.